Alright, I think I'm recording. I think we are good to go. Oh my gosh, this is really cool. Alright, friends. Alright, fellow lumpy heads. I'm gonna learn you all a lesson. It's time for Icrpg. B&B. Got our little bread and butter here. Alright, guys. So, I'm assuming you all are pretty familiar with how D&D is regularly. In terms of making an attempt, you roll a dice. If you get the get the right number, you succeed, and you get to do the thing you're trying to do, and all that jazz. All the basic stuff is pretty much the same. So, except there are some differences. So, let's get into it. Apologize if I'm really slow and annoying. Okay. So, first things first. The target. So, in normal D&D, when you are rolling, it's usually against an enemy. Each enemy will have like a number, so we'll have like bad guy here, and he's like a 15. He's got his armor AC or something like that. And then some other guy will have like 12 or something. And you rolling against, I rolled to hit this guy, and I rolled to hit this is going to be different. In Icrpg, it just simplifies it. It just says the whole room, this whole encounter is going to be that number. Actually, that's like super, super high. It'd probably be like, 12 or something. So, yeah, it really simplifies it. And this number can change depending on situations, depending on the room. But it really just, and that also doesn't even include enemies. That also includes like, I want to do an acrobatic feat. I want to do something else. I want to climb up, climb up a thing. I want to jump off the wall. Whatever you want to do, it's going to be about the general intensity of the situation is the target. So in a really calm area, it probably isn't going to be as a high target as an intense situation with a lot of stuff going on. It just simplifies it. Okay. Then we have, to add on to that, we have easy and hard. So this is just a advantage modification you can make. I know 5e has like, you roll 2 dice, you take the good one if you have advantage. In any given situation, if it's, say, like something that's particularly crazy that you want to do and the DM is kind of like, I don't know, like if you could do that, you can just make a ruling and just say, I think just roll hard, which it means it adds to the target, basically, however you want to think of it, your minuses from you. So hard is going to make it, instead of rolling to a 12, you're going to be rolling to a 15. Or if your guy is super, super good at something, or maybe if you have advantage over the enemy, if they're prone on the ground, some kind of situation, it depends. You can roll easy, and then it's going to make it -3. So it just adds that to you. Simple. You could, and when +3 sounds like it's a positive thing, maybe you can think of it as it's minusing it from yourself. However you want to think of it. Basically, it's making it that much harder. So, yeah, it's pretty simple. So whenever I say, oh, that'll be an easy roll, just think of it as 3 easier or hard rolls 3 harder. Okay, what's next? This is going to start looking really messy. Really fast here. It's going to make it worse. Okay. We've got effort. This is something any system can use, in my opinion. So effort is the damage, so to speak, that you do to things. It's not just you could deal damage effort to a guy. You could, I don't know why they all look like bats. They're evil guys. You could deal weapon damage, which is effort. You could deal effort to, maybe you're trying to break a door down. You're trying to break the door down. That's going to be basic effort. Basically things that are going to take multiple attempts, or you're going to have to like work at for a long time. Effort is the way that Icrpg thinks about it. So that includes anything that you are dealing damage, so to speak, to. And it'll make more sense when you see the character sheet and how it visualizes that. So a fun way that goes is if you have like a treasure chest, you know, it has like that looks like a house, whatever. Treasure, you get loot, and it's probably going to be locked. And say you're in the middle of a battle situation, you don't just get to open it. It's like you're going to have to choose: am I going to fight with my friends, or am I going to deal effort and try to pick this lock? And so it's got health. Not really health, it's not alive, but it has like effort points that you're going to have to wear away at it until you open it up and get the goodies. So it kind of works with it makes it more exciting with time and everything. I'm going to alter my levels a little bit. I know I'm not. Alright. Whoops. Hey, sneak peek. How do I... There, I can hide... Aha! I'm smart. I'm just going to make all that stuff go away. Alright, effort. Movement. So, not that much different, except... So, D&D is a little more simulationist, where a lot of times you'll have a grid, right? And they'll say, each one is 5 feet, and your guy can move 30 feet. And so you're going, okay, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. And that's like your guy's speed. Icrpg is a lot looser with it. They will just have, I mean, you can use a grid, and I typically do use a grid. But we don't count. Usually the joke is that you just use a banana. Look at me draw a banana, I can't do it. You have a banana on the table, or a pencil, or whatever, and that is your so it is a way to judge just about how far you can go on the board. And so the measurements that actually are relevant to you are going to be close distance, near distance, and far distance. So close would be anything that's basically right next to you. And near distance would be anything within the banana distance, within that unit of measurement that you're using on the table. And far as anything out of that, as far as anything that you can't even get to when you run. So usually a character can run one, like if you're at a full run, you can go, you see, I think it was like double or something. But basically it's using a loose measurement just to speed things up and keep it moving. So nobody's sitting there going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, people all agree on what makes sense. Is there a way to just delete everything? See, I'm so bad with like Photoshop and stuff. Okay. We got movement. Okay, so time and turns. I thought I would be able to fit all this in one page, because I was silly. So, in Icrpg, it'll sort of make sense as you get how the characters work and how the whole system works. But they play everything out in turns, because there's not actually any magic MP or anything. Oh, something I forgot to write down and go into. So, everything is just always going to be in turns. Even if you're not in a combat, it's always going to be going around the table in the turn order, just to keep everything kind of moving and organized. This is not something that... This will just make sense when we play. But there's like moments time. there's hours, and there's days. And we'll play out, you know, like every turn is going to be a moment, you know? That's just like in your typical combat encounter that we're used to. Hours is like, okay, every turn is an hour. And so maybe you're on the road and your characters are traveling, and you know, you can hunt, like it takes you an hour, and during your turn your character hunted and you found something or whatever. Turn down my volume a little bit. You know, in days I usually do like when you're in the town, you know, and you have like you go shopping for the day, and then you have like a few actions during the day, and then you go to sleep. Yeah, so that makes sense to me. There are times of like obviously if there's people are talking on the table and things are happening, I won't be completely strict with it, but generally we try to keep things in turns because we don't want somebody just going, well, I'm just going to heal my character completely with 1,000 healing spells because I can. No, you have to wait for your turn. Okay. Okay, this is a fun part. Progression. Okay, so progression in Icrpg is really non-linear. So in D&D, you have like a plan, and your guy kind of goes down through the plan. You say, well, I'm going to get to level 30, I'm going to get this, and when I go to level this, I'm going to get this. In Icrpg, Index Card RPG, it is all loot based, mostly loot based. So that means whatever your guy has, whatever he, I don't know how to visualize that. Blech. Whatever you've got is going to really modify your stats. It's going to be really weird, fun items. The items themselves are like what you just crave. Like that's the fun of the game, is getting something new like that. And it's the part I love to do the most with players, is like to, I'm trying to find my mouse, to get stuff that is so weird, and if actually like makes it to the table, it's not just like, oh, I got one more stat point, great. It's actually like, I got this weird jar that sucks things into it. Or, I mean, stuff does alter your stats. Like you get boots that, they don't just give you a number though. So I'm saying, like, if you get something that increases your speed, it's not just, oh, I got a better number. It's, I can run twice as far, or something really like, that just feels like substantial. So most of the progressions can be loot, and that means you can lose loot too, or you can share. Yeah. So you've got, well, I'll get to that with the character sheet, but it makes your progression very non-linear and very interesting that way, and it's really fun. Getting loot is fun. Getting stuff is fun. We always like getting stuff, and you will get lots of stuff. Oh, we're not doing D&D. Milestones. This is important. So in Icrpg, you don't level up. We just call it milestones. And what that means is we're not counting experience points. We are just taking stock of what you want as a player, what the DM wants, what everybody agrees to. Like maybe if you've come to the end of a quest, you've done a great deed, you've done something really cool. The DM we can look at each other and say, I think you deserve a milestone right now. Like this feels right for your character. You get a milestone, and that is going to be it could be a really cool piece of loot, or it could be something like an actual ability your character gets. It can be something a DM comes up with in the moment for your character, or it could be something out of the book that is actually plotted out in the book. But it is something that you just come up with in terms of like when you get it, which I like, because I hate counting EXP as a DM. I don't want to sit there and count about how many enemies you killed and all. It just kind of sucks the life out of it for me. It's just like, this feels like you deserve a milestone. And so your character likes guns so much. How about you can wield 2 guns, you know, and you can get to, I don't know, just some kind of thing that like is awesome. So milestones. There's also in some of the other expansions of Icrpg, there's, for players who are not into this loosey-goosey kind of thing. There are more planned out paths. So if you actually want to look ahead to something, you can say, all right, get enough of this tier, and you can get to this tier, etc., etc., etc. But don't worry about it. All right. Now it's time to talk about death and dying. Death and dying. All right. So, how death works is you come to 0 HP and you roll for dying. You roll a d6. And whatever you get on that roll is how much time you have, so this is actually on the next turn, so not the moment you die, but you die, you get 0 XP, wait for the next round, on your turn you roll a d6. Very important roll, because this determines how much time you have left on this earth to get saved. So let's say you rolled a 2. That sucks. You've got 2 more rounds to either roll yourself to alive. You have to with a nat 20. If you roll a nat 20, you get up with 1 HP. You've saved yourself. You've found the will within you to live. Or get help from a friend. And if anybody can find the time to come up to you, kneel beside you, put some pressure on the wound, grab your head in their arms and say, "Stay with me, man," then they can save you. That means make an interwiz check on the target, as you know. That's how everything works. So if they can come up to you and they can make an interwiz check on the target, you get up with 1 HP. Stay with me, man! Yeah, so that's how dying works. And if you, yeah, there's other stuff, but I'm not going to get so deep into it. Okay, now it's time for the fun part. Another fun part. This is all fun. We're going to talk about the character sheet. Can I zoom this? Yeah. It's going to be a little grainy, but that's okay. Alright, this is the character sheet. Simple, the way I like it. The way I likes it. Name, story. I've already talked to you guys about. No! Oh, it's a hidden layer. I understand. Where is it hidden at? That ain't hidden. No! It's literally visible. Oh, why am I doing? Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. I've already talked to you guys on Messenger about a story. So make your story simple. To reiterate, my advice to you guys was, in my experience, if you have like a super intense backstory but it doesn't make it to the table, then it was sort of wasted energy. So you want to have your character be simple enough that you and everybody around the table gets your spiel in a nutshell, like really quick. So boil whatever your character is down to like a playable thing that you know when you get to the table, you're going to play them differently. It's not just going to be you doing you, and then in your head you know my father died or something. That's great, but you need to have a shortcut, is basically what I'm saying. Alright. Where do I start? Let's go from left to right here. So stats. Very similar to D&D. Very similar to D&D. A little simplified. So D&D has where you have modifiers, and then those get plussed and plussed and plussed, and then they equal your number, like an 8 or something. In this, when you start out, you get 6 points first, without modifiers, so you just get 6 points. to add wherever you want on here. You could put, I'm just going to basically make a character right now. So I can say, I can add him to armor, I can add him to stats, I can add him to effort. I can add him basically in all these places where I want. So I'm like, I want him to be... And I like to write them off to the side just so I don't commit, because we've got loot modifiers, base. So I'll put it right here. We'll put our 2 here, 1, 2. I want to do good weapon damage, 3. I'm going to make a strong guy. 4, put 1 on my armor. Usually it's 10 by default. The armor is just 10 if you're wearing clothes. And he's got constitution, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. He can do some... There, I've added my 6 points on there. And then you'll add, I'll have like loot and other stuff that gives you bonuses. So you'll have like, whatever I got. These numbers are just what you add. This is not realistic. That'd be 11. Let's say I had 1 here. That'd be 3. So when I roll, like I'm going to make a strength check. I roll 15. I just add that 3. And there you go. You don't need it. I don't know. It's just a little simpler. Next thing is effort. Lord. Oh, that erases everything. That's awesome. Effort. So as you can see, let me zoom in here. We have effort. All these dice are you only need to roll 1 dice per type of effort that you're doing. So let's say you're doing weapon damage, you roll a d6. D6 is the weapon damage dice. You're not going to roll 2 d6s. You're not going to roll. It's just a d6. So no matter what weapon you have, that's another thing about weapons. If you have a sword, if you have a knife, they're both deadly. All weapons are deadly. You might just have pluses on some and others, and they have different ranges and different sort of attributes. But it's always, always, always going to be a d6 for weapon damage. For magic effect, you add the d8 to it. That's your magic dice. Basic work is like stuff with your hands, like hand-to-hand combat, or maybe improvised weapons. When you're trying to break open a door, when you're trying, the stuff with your hands, that's basic work. And then ultimate, this is your critical attack. So if you roll a nat 20, or let's say you have a special ability or a special something, you're going to roll, let's say I roll a sword attack. I roll a sword attack, and it goes, so that's 1d6, plus this guy, he had 1, so plus 1, and then he rolls a 20. Then that's going to add the other dice to it. Well, on your attempt. You roll a d20, you say, I hit him with a 20. Okay, roll your d6, then also put in your hand, put an ultimate in there. You get plus the ult dice. So it just adds a whole other dice to your roll, which is just feels cool in your hand just to have a handful of dice. Yes, add the ultimate dice. Your d12. So a lot of the times they're not doing... I mean, you can modify this any way you really want to, but they're not doing like 2 d6s. They're not doing that. They're not doing d6s times 2 doubling or anything like that. They're not doing that kind of thing very much. It's just this dice plus this dice and then adding whatever little bonuses that you're getting. Okay. This is important here. Next thing. Your hit points. Make some room here. HP is always in groups of 10. That is visualized by heart. So if you've ever played Zelda... Ooh, that's ugly. If you've ever played Zelda game, it's the same... Dark blood. That's gross. It's the same basic thing. So everybody starts off with 1 heart. That is a basic thing. Most of the time we're going to have a heart, which is 10 HP, which means you're very fragile. Although a lot of the enemies are also going to have 1 heart. So in Icrpg, you might notice that things are pretty deadly in general. If you get a rare heart stone, some kind of item, you might add another heart to that. You might fight large enemies that are a few hearts, or even like 3 hearts or something. And you're rolling enough damage that it'll be substantial. The reason for this is it doesn't make sense if you think about it in normal D&D to have, you know, big mean enemy, and he is like 16 HP. And the GM knows this. They don't know it. He just has 16, and then another enemy has like 18 HP. And the GM is like, ho ho ho, this guy is mean. I know that this guy is stronger than this guy, but the players are not really going to feel that. Like, 2 HP is not that big of an integer to really make the players feel like one guy's stronger than another. It's just the GM kind of like, yeah, he's a little bit stronger. So, if you make one enemy have 10 HP, and another enemy have 20 HP, now that is a pretty big integer. So this just makes it feel a lot more meaningful to have HP like that. We got a nice little thing here for death and dying. Just notice that there's a maximum 10 of equipped gear and a max 10 of carried gear because loot is important. You need to manage it. Spot for your coin. There's only one type of currency. It's just coin. So there's not like gold, silver, titanium, adamantium, whatever. My voice is really tired. So, yes, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. To get you guys going, there are online tools. No. Oh. So I can hook you guys up with some online, like that character sheet. Hopefully, I need to recheck if the free stuff is up to date with the current book, because there are free starter stuff. But, yeah. Alright, that was probably pretty long, but hopefully that was educational. Thank you guys very much.